Okay, let's look at example 2. We have this business called Acute PLC. And what I might do is, I might just do it the way, again, like I say, the way it's done in the back, but just explain it again so you can see what's going on. You bought a factory here, 472, and you sold it for here, 711. So technically, the unindexed gain, so that's the proceeds, and you have your unindexed gain, which would be this less the factory costs of 472, giving you an unindexed gain 711000 minus 472000, which is 239000. Great. So I mean, again, like I say, what I need to now consider is the factory indexation. So you bought this thing September 1985, and we indexation stops at 2017. So in effect, what we now have is indexation of 472000 times 1.914. So 472,000 times 1.914 takes us all the way to 900. So the indexation is that much. That takes us to 903,408. But like I say, you can imagine that the indexation cannot make take a gain into the negative, so it will be restricted to 39000, and therefore that's how we would deal with that, restricted. Yeah, and that's the kind of that's dealing with A. Now, what difference would it make if the factory had been sold for 360? Well, if you had sold the factory for 360, in effect, you would have had proceeds of 360,000, factory costs for 72000, and this wouldn't even apply here. You literally would just have a capital loss, if you like, of 360,000 minus 472, taking you into a space of 112,000 capital loss for you to use against your capital gains, or to carry forward or use for any other purposes. Now, what we now see, and then that's it, literally. So, key point here is that indexation will not make another indexation loss, will not make an indexed gain negative. That's not going to happen. And also, the second point is that when you have a capital loss, you can't even use these indexations. Okay, right. Okay, right. So let's carry on. So moving on very quickly, capital losses again. You saw this with even with individuals, but capital losses. How do we use capital losses? Well, we can't use capital losses against our total profits in our year. This is as companies. What we can use them is if we have capital losses, we have to look for any current year chargeable gains. And anything that's remaining, we carry forward and offset against future gains. And just like for individuals, we never thought we could anyway. We cannot carry back capital losses. And you can see very highlighting again very clearly, capital losses can only be offset against chargeable gains. They cannot be used against any other type of income. So that makes it slightly straightforward. There is a straightforwardness to that. And let's move on very quickly into shares and securities. So kind of like for individuals, there is also a matching rule. There's a matching rule. Indexation applies, same principle, but there's a matching rule. So the same kind of AVCO method I discussed in class and in other videos, the rules are slightly different here. So we have matching like for like. We're trying to get a FIFO on the same day approach first. And then, as opposed to, if you remember, with the individuals, it was 30 days in advance. So we were comparing with the future. But here, with companies, shares acquired, we're really looking, this is kind of normal. The amount of creative accounting does not occur um, with companies as it does with um, individuals. So it's pretty much shares acquired during the 9 days before the sale on a FIFO basis. So this is as if we could match things, we would, as close as we possibly can. And then everything else over that just goes into a pool. So yes, the share pool contains all the shares bought more than 9 days before the sale in effect. So it's quite straight, um, if you like. And we deal with bonus and rights issues as we did when we did the individual, and we just keep going. Right. Now, because, like I said, because we have indexation, we kind of index to what's referred to as the operative event, which is the next point, as you almost would in, if you like, remember your old school AVCO treatment. Every time you bought in some new stock, you would add that in and recalculate to kind of find what the kind of average inventory price was per unit. And then you might have some, remember, you would have issues and if you like in your warehouse, and then you would have the closing balance of your stock, right? And so every time you had a new issue, just before that, you would recalculate in a table to see what the new value of your inventory was. Same principle applies. And this is your table. I think this is the best way to kind of do this, actually, to always kind of have your number of shares, have the cost, have the indexed cost, and then always just all this happening here is us applying indexation, if you like, um, to what's going on. And this is your number of shares, and then you can kind of move on step by step, and then until you then sell off, exactly like we did for individuals, and then take a proportion of what it is we are disposing of. Right, so let's see how this works. So look at this here. It says here that you have this business called Chapman Limited, who had the following acquisitions. So it says on the so they had some stuff here, 1989. There we are. We have that. Okay. So I'm just gonna let me see if I can. Yeah. So I'll just have here number, cost, index cost, and shares acquired. So we have 1750, but I might not even follow this. I just want to show you what's really happening. So you have 1925, and I guess yes, you accept that on the very first day. Well, that's what we would have, because these are our first set of shares, 16th of September 1989. It is almost intuitive. Now, what happens is you go along, and when you buy these set of shares here on the 1st of October, that's an event. That's an operating event. Remember, because we want the shares are like AVCO, we have to inflate it up to this date. So I need to know what's happening between here and the 1st of October 1996. I buy some new shares, 5250. These new shares cost 5500, but the question is, what is going on with these shares? So in effect, I need to inflate these shares to get their new value. So their new value from 1925, so from September 1989 all the way to October, is 0.39. That's the indexation. Now, the indexation in effect for here is this 1925 times 0.319, and that in effect, but hopefully you can see that if you understand what it is you're doing, there is a number of ways you can treat this. So here I have my indexation, which is 614, right? 1.1, yes, 1925 times that. And so I now have the new indexed value of these shares as at this date at 192 plus 1925, which gives me 2539. But I also have my new cost, and sorry, that's that indexed. And so this is now this indexed. This is indexed up till here. So what do I now have? So I now have, and I bought these shares. So I'll just write this 5500 here as well. So this, if you like, is my total. So in effect, what I now have is I have a total of 0, 0, 0. I have 7,000 shares with original cost of 5 to 9 plus 5 is 14. Yes, 9 plus 5 is 14. And here I have 7, yes, 5, 2, 4, 7. And I now have shares with an indexed cost of 2539 plus 5500. So I've indexed all the way. So all these shares are now similar, 8039. Remember, this is the issue because every time I get to an operative event, I'm basically mixing up all my shares. So as of this date, I have 7,000 shares that are indexed at 8039. And that's the original cost. So what happens next? Then as at the 20th, I go all the way to the 28th of September for again. So literally on the 28th of September, I bought another 100. But what I should do really, like I said, is let me index these first up to the 28th of September 2018. So 7,000 shares, cost 7425, and I'm going to index these again. So indexing these shares, so the indexation from 96, October 96. So I don't want this. This is not happening. Nothing 2018 isn't happening. October 96, December 2007 is 0.808. That's my stop date. So now I have the indexation is 8039 times 0.808. So 8039 times 0.808, which is 6496. I'll just round that up. So 6496. So I now have my new index cost 8039 plus 648039. So I now have 14534. And then what I did on that day as well was to buy 100 new shares for 390. So 100, 390. Of course, that's 390 on that date, which brings me, if you like, into the total number of shares of 14534 plus 390 gives us 14924, and the original cost is 7425 plus 390, which is 7815. Great. So that's kind of the deal. That's where we are. Now, that's my pool. I'm just indexing as I go along. So think of it, the computers do this now for us without us thinking. So we just arrive on this date, and this is where we are. Then it says that you sell. So now that I'm selling, all I have to now do is just, if you like, just get rid of what it is I'm selling, because that keeps this all very neat and tidy. So it says that you sold 6,000 shares. I'll come and deal with the proceeds, but let's just make sure we get the cost amount correct. So I get rid of 6,000 of these shares. So if I get rid of 6,000 of these shares, I literally now just want the ratios of 6,000 over 7,100 times 7,815, and therefore, well, I mean, in reality, I really don't even. Well, I do just to keep making sure my schedule is maintained. But otherwise, this is what I'm interested in, isn't it? Really, 6,000 over 7,100 times 14,924. It's only because I need to keep a register. In reality, I'm trying to find this indexed amount that's already done for me. So I have 6,000 divided by 7,100, which is that, times 14924, which is 12612. And here I have 6,000 divided by 7,100 times 7,815, which is 6604. 6604. So just to complete my table, it means I have left shares 1100, and I have, if you like, oh, this has gone into 15 minutes. This is longer than I thought. 7815 minus 6604, which is 1211. This is what's left. And then I also have this 14924 minus 14924 minus 12612, which is 2312. This is what I have left. So dealing with the sale, which is the sale of this thing here, because this is what I'm interested in, I sold 6,000 shares. That's what I'm told, right? I'm just going to do that over here. So I sold 6,000 shares for basically their index cost is 12612. I've taken that into account. That's the indexation all in there. And that's enough really, because you have the working here. And it says you sold them for 28,250. 28,250, right? And you've gotten rid of that. You've sold that. So you have 28,250 minus 12,612, giving you a gain, if you like, of 15,638. And this takes into account the indexation, doesn't it? Because that's the indexed amount as we're going along. I mean, you could have split this up into its cost and its indexation if you wanted to, but that doesn't really matter. Cool, great stuff. So and that's how we deal with that. So great, and I'll see you in the next video for the next question.